Yes, we are live. Welcome to this last for the after lunch party. My pen fall. So and for this last meeting, I have a special invitee, my friend Renee Spears from the Abundology podcast and business, because Abundology is the name of her company as well. And I'm so happy to be here with her because she knows all the backstage stuff from the book, and she supported me almost over the last 2 years. So, and I went to Montana to visit her. So, yes, I'm so happy, Renee, you are here.
And I'm so happy I'm here because I've been with you since the beginning of this book. When you first had the idea and you said, I think I'm going to write a book, and then you went away to the mountain for a couple weeks and actually wrote it.
Yes.
And then I got to be there during the editing process and the proofreading process and stuff especially when it went to English with Suzanne, and then having you on my podcast. So I feel like I get to celebrate with you too, because I've been a little bit of a part of this journey. So
yes, you were, and yes, especially since you as well received the information from my guide. So I think you are on the, I don't know, like it's a show, and you're sitting in front of the show to be the first one to see it. So it's really, really great.
I would
Yeah.
have to start with just a little toast to you, my dear.
Oh, we were so synchronized.
Congratulations. Such a
Thank
big
you.
deal. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
really, really. Cheers.
Mm, that's actually really good. So I
Yes.
usually don't have, I'm not a big drinker, but to have a little nice champagne in the morning is lovely.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Yes, yes.
Why not?
So
And so, yes, I'm so glad you're here. And can you introduce yourself? I think it's really better if you introduce yourself. You speak better about you than yes, I will do great. But yes, you know what you want to
I
share today.
know what I do exactly. I am a spirit guide channeler. So I connect with people's spirit guides and pass on messages that they have. So I kind of feel like I'm a translator from the spirit world to English. I'm also a spiritual mentor. I do teach lots of classes and do wisdom circles and that sort of thing. And I also am the host of the Abundology podcast. So
Yes.
a variety of things.
This podcast, I have to say, because you release it every Sunday around noon, I think. And I discover it because of time zone. I discover it every Monday morning, and I start my week with your voice. So it's so great, because you have this enthusiasm in it, and you infuse it with good vibes from Montana, and it's so great. Start the week with you.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people. And I've been doing the Sunday weekly energy update now for 6 years. Every Sunday. I've missed 2 Sundays during that time. One, I was traveling to Mexico City to see my son. And then the other one, there was a family health issue going on.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say it really adds up over the years when you do that every Sunday. I'm up to like almost 450 podcasts now. Isn't that
Oh my
crazy?
God.
It's
It, it,
crazy.
I can't believe it because, I'm consistent in doing some content, but I can't imagine doing it's not the same because it's every single week are different, but it's the same umbrella for 6 years. Wow. And
Years. Yeah, like a similar format for that
yes,
whole time. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
So
Yes, and from time to time you have some guests, a special guest,
I
and
do. I had you as a special guest, and then I have
yes,
quarterly. I have Deborah Norton, who's an astrologer, come on and
yeah,
talk about that quarter's astrology. And I've had human design people and medical intuitives. Just actually, I don't plan it like a business. I just have my friends come on, the cool people that I want to talk to.
yes, yes. Of course, of course. I think it's the best way to do some podcasting because we can feel the energy in it when it's your friends and you are on the same wavelengths and there is really something special. And how did the name Abundology come to you? Because it's a strange name,
It's a
and
strange
I know that
name.
there is a story behind it.
Yes, I used to own a mortgage company. I started it in my living room. I grew it. I ran it for about 20 years, and then I ended up selling that company. But I didn't know what I was going to do next. I just, for about 6 months, I just did puzzles, went out to brunch, ate chocolate, got pedicures, knowing something's coming, but not knowing really what it was. So I was having acupuncture one day, and the woman put the needle in my third chakra, or my third eye. And all of a sudden I got this download of like, your company is going to be called Abundology. You're going to do channeling. You're going to do mentoring. I do spiritual business mentoring also. And it was like, okay. So I'd never heard the word before. I went home and Googled it. Like, is this like a legit word? Or like, what is this word? And it had been used by somebody, a couple decades ago to describe something. So I just followed the advice I got from my guides and from, this download, and chose that as my name. And it really does fit me because I'm all about the abundance of life. Yeah, money
Yes.
part of that, but really like joy and being present and beauty and all of that wonderful good stuff. And I think Abundology incorporates and includes all of that.
Yes, yes. I can see because I saw you last year when I visited you that it's really, really true. And you live like that. So for me, you are the perfect, embodier. I don't know if we'd say that, but you embody perfectly uh, what for me it means being is in your doing because you don't it seems that, and I can feel that it's true, you don't act from scarcity anymore. So you wait for, the feeling, the right moment, the confirmation. And I remember one morning you woke up and you say, I had some issues to get ready with my landing pages, and I know why, because I received the information this during this night, and I remember this morning very clearly. I don't know if you remember it, but and I can't remember which offer you were working on at that time. But that was really, really, yes. It's like that it should be today. For a better world.
Well, and I think that is one of the main points of your book is this authenticity. We have to be it used to be like we can do it intellectually and we could use our minds. Now we have to embody it. It has to be our authentic self that we're bringing. And as you know, being an entrepreneur is really like a spiritual journey. Like
It
you
is.
It is. Yes, all the things. You have to have trust and faith and surrender and allow and all the things. Hmm.
Yes, and that's so great because I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to be spiritual for you? Spirituality, being spiritual. What does it mean? And I think you already answered the question. So maybe you want to enhance it a little bit, but I don't
Well,
know if you have something to add.
I think we have this old-fashioned idea of spirituality of like sitting and alming under a tree and meditating for 10 hours a day or whatever it may be. Sure, that's fine. But during this shift where this collective consciousness is kind of coming online now, it's about taking these spiritual, intellectual ideas trust, faith, surrender, allowing, all the things,
Yeah.
and living them, being them, acting like that, incorporating that in your life. So to me, that is spirituality, which then, of
Yeah.
course, leads to being present, and yeah, all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I want to welcome Carl Tame and just say, Carl, if you have some questions, feel free to ask them. We would like this live to be interactive. I know it's somewhere in the world early morning, but if you have questions, feel free to ask them. And I would like to ask you as well, Renee, because you had this mortgage company. You were a very successful entrepreneur, woman entrepreneur, and very, I think, at one point influential, or you were seen, and yes, you were asked to give some talk and so on. So how why at one point, what happened, or what was the tipping point that made you decide that I don't want this life anymore, and I want to sell my company, I want another life?
Well, I think there was a couple of tipping points. I think the first one was about 10 years into my company, I was just really unhappy and dissatisfied with my life. And, and I had been focusing on money and more and the numbers and all of that. And I decided to make a complete shift from that and
Mm,
instead focus on joy and appreciation and, the just being with my employees and my clients and the journey, basically.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I didn't even like look at the numbers or the bottom line or pay attention to the bookkeeping. I had CPA and all that stuff, but that was one big shift. And it's interesting that the first year that I did that and shifted more on joy and happiness and just the journey, our
yeah.
income doubled. Our income
Of
doubled
course,
that year, which goes right
of
along with what you're
course.
saying in the book.
Absolutely. I don't know if I remember, if I told you that March was very calm and I have almost no clients, and that I have to. I think I was, in preparation for what's coming. So it's always like that. If I have no clients, is that something better is coming, and I have to be ready. And then this week, I don't know if it's, the astrology, or maybe, probably because I'm a fire sign, but really with this lives, I was, back into my full power, full energy. I'm so happy to meet people and have this conversation that I've signed two clients in 2 days, and I can see that, the others are coming. So it's really, really, when you are enjoying and having fun, and you have no expectations, once again, no expectations, things are, coming. And it's usually not where you think it will, from where it will come. It's really so different from what I expected, where I put my energy. So
Well,
I
and
love that.
I love that too. And I think that that's one of the great things about your book is describing, the old fashioned way we would hustle more, get out there more, do more networking, send out more offers, that sort of thing. That's in the past. Those days are gone.
Absolutely.
And now it's about being aligned. Like you had so much with your book launch happening in March that how could you have even squeezed clients in? Your energy was going to book launch and all of that stuff.
Absolutely. And my intellectual energy, my physical energy, my time, but as well something else. And I should have the time, these invisible energies, the magnetic one, and all those things. I had to have the space, I think, to have it circulate the right way. So
Yeah.
being fully dedicated, checking that, my body is fully energized, and doing some sports and taking time for me, taking care, and
Yes.
really taking the time to realize that I'm launching my book, 2 years work, and I'm launching it right now. So yes, it's a chance and such a gift to be able to realize that.
It is a gift. And to have the time that you were able to take that time off. I will point out one super cool thing. Like, you did not plan on a calendar, you planned the launch of your book, but you did not plan it based on the astrology of all of these planets in Aries at this time. Did you look forward to see that all of that was
No,
going
you remember when I visited you last summer, we did a lecture with Teresa,
on? Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
and she said, basically the time was not good now because Jupiter is not in my sign yet, and so something like that. It will come, and so on. And then I had in my head, I wanted absolutely this launch to be in January or something like that, beginning of the year, 2026, year number one. And then I met Renee from Smoking Hot Books, and I wasn't nice with her the first time I met her. Oh my God, I'm really ashamed because I came with, oh, I'm a marketer, so I know things, and my God, I hate myself for that. But she knows I made my apologies. And um, then she said, "Oh no, we need 6 months to be really ready. Don't put pressure on yourself and so on." I thought, "Oh my God, 6 months? Are you kidding?" No, I want this book to be launched, because I'm all fiery. And then I realized, at the same time, it goes fast, and it was so I don't have the word in English. It was in 6 months, so it's not. The time was long, and uh, then it goes so fast, and I had the time as well to enjoy each single step and put
Yeah.
all my energy, full energy into it. And when I say full energy, it's not from my mind. It's the alignment, my heart, my belly, everything into it. And then I realized this week that it's okay. The launch was the 31st of March, but now we are here with all those conjunctions, and yes. And if I look at numerology, I wouldn't have choose this period because it was a 4 months, and now it's a fifth month, and I'm really not into five. It's not my number at all. But this year it's really completely different. And so yes, I realized that at one point I used that to plan and to control my
Yeah.
planning, and it was just another way to control the planning. But the thing is that today, okay, we have a deadline, but we should not work with plans anymore. We can't, because the world is so crazy that we can't.
We can't. And I've told you this before. I teach quite a few classes and wisdom circles and that sort of thing. And I just get the idea, oh, I think I'll start it next Wednesday or something like that. And it always, 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 always is some sort of important day. It's a new moon, a full moon, an eclipse, major conjunction, something like that. I don't plan based on that sort of stuff. It just happens to align like that, which I think is so
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. And but it can happen only if your well-being, if your energy, if your mind are all together open to that.
Yes. Yes.
And
And you
and
trust. Yes.
yes,
Like, I
yes.
don't go into marketing mode. I have to laugh when you said that. I came with my marketing agenda. I don't go into that. I just go into like, oh, okay, well, this will be good next Wednesday, period. And then just do it. Just
Yeah,
trust what I'm getting.
the thing is that, selling is not like it used to be anymore. So yes, you sell with joy because you set up your new program or your new webinar, and you are happy to sell it, to talk about it. It naturally fits into your podcast, and then wonderful, you have people, but you don't have the feeling that you don't push people to buy your offers,
Mm,
and we can't force people to buy. So
no,
yeah.
no.
And for me, I realized that I am a natural seller or an organic seller when I am in my full power, like right now. I feel so good and happy to share, be here with you, and so on. And probably when I open my email later, I don't know, I don't want to expect it because it will cut everything. But often when I'm like that, when I open my email, there are sales, new clients, or WhatsApp, or I need you. But if I expect and I need and I want, nothing comes.
No, we just have to be so aligned with the energy. And I
Yeah,
think that's our work now. Not necessarily
absolutely.
setting up the program or getting our marketing plan or anything like that. The work is to keep ourselves in alignment, to keep ourselves in flow.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But especially since today, I spent a lot of time with Claude AI today and yesterday, and it can do all the work. I just had it really wrote the code for the landing page. I just had to copy paste it in my website.
Yeah.
So you just have, I make a vocal note, send it, transcript it in text, and then give it to it, and then the 5 minutes later, I had the HTML code. I copy pasted on my website,
Yeah.
and it was perfect.
I love that. Well, and do you feel like that's one of the changes now as we're using AI for that sort of, I'm going to call it menial work, but that kind of stuff, which then frees up our time for us to be present and enjoy life and stay in the energy.
But for me, it's a kind of yin yang,
Yeah.
AI is the yang, and spirituality and our time and taking care of our energy is the yin part. And it's a way to balance as well. If we think that AI is bad, so it's a shadow, it's a way to raise the light as well and keep the balance.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And so, and as in the yin yang, there is a part of, white in the dark, the black, and a black point in the white as well. So it's, and yeah, I have goosebumps everywhere when I say that. Hello, Tavius. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We can make this live interactive. And I would like, Renee, to because you channel, you receive information from the guides, and you are okay to receive information, and they seem to be okay too. So I would like to do a live channeling with you if you agree. Is it still
Okay,
okay?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's interesting
So
because I normally do like just individual people. So
yeah,
this is fun for me to be able to channel my guides, because usually I talk to other people's guides or communicate with
yeah.
them. So I'm really curious, like what's going to come through?
Yeah, oh, of course, of course.
Yeah.
So, um, do you need some time to? Yes, you're
No,
getting
no,
ready.
just 10 seconds or something like that. So feel free to
Yeah.
just ask what you would like to know. And then by that time, I'm sure that I'll be
Okay.
connected. Yeah.
Okay. We were talking about AI, and yes, time for us to be in our energy. For me, of course, AI is either a lever to access to more time, but what do they have to say? What are their advice or recommendations to be able to enjoy this time, our spiritual time, our well-being, and taking care of our energy as an entrepreneur, because we have stuff to do. So what do they have to say about that?
Well, what they have to say is AI is part of this collective consciousness shift that we're going through. So if you're a spiritual person, you've been hearing about this and we've been talking about it for, I don't know, a decade, if not longer. And AI is an integral part of that shift because it's going to free up, like we were talking about, some energy and time of the things that maybe aren't quite as, don't need our attention as much, so that we can put more of our energy and our intention into this connection and authenticity and knowing ourselves. That's a really interesting one. Like, a lot of people don't know themselves. And
Yes,
we're also going through this, all of us individually, during this big time. We're not who we were. We are not who we were, I don't know, 6 months ago, let alone 5 years ago. And
yes,
so, even if you did know who you were, this is a new version of you. So we need time to figure out, like, how does all this stuff work? How does my intuition, how do I get messages? How do I keep my energy high? How we need to be authentic. So if we're doing that, we actually need to know, like, who are we?
absolutely, especially to be able to check if what AI is giving us feels right for us, and if
Yes,
it's aligned or not, because it tends to average people and answers. But it's another
that's another story.
conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have another question. I have so many questions coming, but Carl and Tavius, if you have questions, feel free to ask. But Renee, what would they say to people that today are against AI or hate technology and
Well, there's a legitimate reason why some people are against AI here. If we're not careful with it, I think that this has been pointed out by a lot of the programmers and people that have invented it. If we're not careful with it, um, it could be a disaster. But same, this is so good. They're so good at tying things in. But the
because
same
yeah,
thing with our Earth. If we're not careful with our Earth and how we're treating it, disaster too. If we're not careful with how we treat ourselves, disaster. So it's all going back to being really intentional, and what would we say? Intentional about it and using it correctly, and society using it correctly. So, boy, this is going into a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to share whatever is coming up. We're seeing, we're seeing this shift right now on our world with our political system. I'm embarrassed about the United States, but we're seeing the shift there too. And all of this is to wake us the fuck up. And the part of AI, then, we need to be awake so that we can work with it in a conscious way, and not just be unconscious with it, not be unconscious with the planet, not be unconscious with how we're treating people. This is a time when we're all waking up. So it's there. I can understand why there's a feeling of fear around AI.
yeah,
It's
me too.
legitimate.
Yeah. Yes, and I think at one point it can become, I'm sorry to say that, but autonomous.
Hmm.
So I'm almost, I saw those kind of stuff when I'm traveling to the future, traveling or yeah, connected to the future. I can see some danger here. So yes, for that, the more we are awakened and conscious, the better it is, I think. And yeah.
But with everything.
Yeah.
With
Of course.
everything.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. And I think that you and I have talked about this before about the AI like sucking our authenticity,
Yeah.
and that is something else to be, we need to know who we are and use it as a tool, not use it as defining who we are. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, next question for them. What do they have to say about how to, what's the best way? Because, in this crazy time, especially in the United States, how can someone find some peace to connect to himself?
So peace is what this is all about. Like, and I would love to say that it starts out there with them. It doesn't. Peace starts within each one of us. And so if we want to see this collective change, we need to personally do our work. And so all of these spiritual concepts that we were talking about before, now it's time to live those. So peace shifts out there when this shifts in here. And so, as we're talking about, what's our work now? Our work necessarily isn't 8 hours a day on the business plan or 8 hours a day on this or whatever it may be. Our work is to keep ourselves in this place of inner peace, to choose peace every day. That's our work.
Absolutely, but right now my freaking entrepreneur mind comes back and say, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna challenge you because I have an entire company to run, salary to pay, invoices, taxes, and so on. So if I take time for myself and do all those woo-woo stuff and take care of myself, how am I gonna pay the bill?" you know?
Well, and I think that that's part of this shift in what we think spirituality is. If I do all this woo woo stuff, if I spend 3 hours a day in meditation or yoga or breathing, then I don't have time. One, that's this little scarcity thinking right there, but well, that's
Yeah,
another show.
absolutely.
But but it isn't about that. This is about being present. This is about being present while you're doing the marketing plan. This is about
Yeah.
being present while you're doing whatever it is in your business and enjoying it and doing it from a place of peace and joy and abundance instead of, I got to get this done. Those are two completely different energies. So we're to this place where we're embodying these big spiritual concepts and living them. I'm going to say if you aren't open to this shift, you're going to probably get smacked upside the head with something not working to get you to shift.
Yes. Yes. Of course. Of course. And we see, you know, each almost every day people that receive this kind of information.
Yes.
If and I wish it's not something really big or that makes those people in trouble, but sometimes it is, and it's sometimes it's hard, illness or I don't know, being fired or whatever, just to be or losing the biggest clients of the company, or just to have a wake up call.
To have a wake up call. And, we get the little nudges of wake up call when maybe our sales slow down or, I happen to have right now at this moment just a little bit of a sore knee from doing too much yoga. But once again, it was like this, okay, why is my knee sore? Because everything is happening for us. It's not happening to us. So why is my knee sore right now? And I need to take less time walking and doing yoga, which gave me a lot more time to just sit and be present right now with this new moon, all this astrology. I'm getting all of these ideas, which I don't know if I was doing lots of yoga and walking and hiking and getting out there, if I would have had this quiet time to receive all this information.
Yeah. yes, that's great. Well, if you want some information about me, I can give you the information.
Fortunately, it feels a little bit better now, so that's good.
Great. It seems that life do things perfectly. Um,
Mhm.
uh, so, what do one new question for your guides? What do they have to say about this new moon?
This new moon is really a reset for the planet. And we're not going to see it tomorrow, the day after the new moon. But if we were to look back in a year, 2 years, 5 years, we could probably say, like, oh, this was the time. This was the time that things shifted. In the US, we can see that shift happening right now with um, our government losing some of their shine for some people, should I say, and people waking up and rethinking things and the world rethinking things, not following us blindly
Yeah,
anymore. So there's definitely a shift happening. It's also a shift for each one of us individually. Once again, the guides are so good because it's starting here. Like,
yeah,
we're going to get this ideas of, oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do whatever, you know? Um, the question is, do we listen to that and follow that? Some of us will do it right away. Others, it may take a little bit, to get there.
yeah,
But this is a shift on the planet and for each of us individually. So it's a big deal. New moons, they're lovely, they're fun. Usually I pay more attention to eclipses and, big conjunctions and stuff. But
yeah,
this new moon, holy shit, it's really, really powerful.
yeah. Something, I'm 6 or 7 years ahead, hours ahead of you, and so many strange things happen today. So as you know, I the wrong hour was here for our
Yeah.
life. So yeah, the first one or the last one, but I missed a very important meeting with someone who is responsible in a big show here about well-being, and she wanted me and my book. She wanted to meet me, and I forgot it. And I never forget, but I don't know what happened, and I was totally out of that. I was enjoying my doing my grocery shopping for the weekend, and then and I realized, oh my God, she's waiting for me for 55 minutes, and I haven't looked at my phone. And yes, and then I went to the swimming pool, and my, how do you say, the hat, it for swimming, it totally explodes in my head when I wanted to put it on my over my head. So so I went back home, and so I enjoyed the sunny afternoons. It's really crazy what happened today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the reminder that it's all happening for you. Like
yeah.
everything. I think we forget that. Now, I don't know why your hat exploded and why you're not swimming, but maybe it's did enjoy the energy. I don't know like why you missed the meeting, but something will come of it.
Yes, we'll see for sure. I've decided to go to the swimming pool for this swim, telling myself, "Oh, I don't know if I want to go. We'll see," because
Well, you saw.
yes, yes, I saw, but it was not very agreeable for my hand at that time. But yeah, you know what, Renee? I was stuck in the conversation and was blocked, and I realized that Carl said. Spirituality for me is laughing at yourself, your mistake. That's why AI isn't useful for me. Of course, of course. You cannot joke.
Yes.
Maybe we can, but yes, it's so much in our head that it's very,
Yes, I'm going to agree with him because every reading I do, the guides are laughing and telling us not to take things so seriously and lighten up. And, that energy is completely different than the serious energy. And so I am going to
yeah.
agree with him that that is what spirituality is that lovely light feeling.
Ah, of course. I don't know why maybe the guide, if they are still here, can answer that. Why are we so used or wired to see, the bad stuff and
Well, they're saying it's a lot of fear. Fear that we're not going to have enough, fear we're not going to be okay, all of the fears. And then, of course, society feeds into those fears also.
yeah,
But if we were to go to these bigger spiritual concepts that we're talking about, like trust and faith, then we would believe and trust that everything's going to work out. So I don't need to worry about whatever the thing may be because it's going to work
yeah,
out. That's the
yes,
light energy that Carl's talking about. That like a light. We just know it's going to work out. I
yes,
know. I
yes.
know.
Renee joined, and maybe Renee, I know that maybe you have some question for Renee's guide because it's her guide that are here right now because it's easier. But and I have the feeling that her guides are connected to the future, and so if you have questions, so you can ask questions,
Yeah,
and
because as we know, time doesn't really exist. So the future is happening at the same time as now. So
yeah,
that is, I have to say, one of the hardest things for me is when people are asked, well, when am I going to meet the person or when is this going to happen? And it's like, I can't really tell you because time doesn't exist. So
yeah.
but that time is whenever your energy is lined up. That's the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that because you cannot control that. If
I
even if we think we can control it, we can't.
we cannot control it because yeah, we just can't. I will say one time I did a reading and this woman wanted to know like when she's going to meet her partner, and the guide said September. So I say September. I just say whatever comes. I'm not like trying to predict anything. So September comes, no. Next September, no. Third September, she meets the guy. So it was September, but it was like 2 or 3 years in the future in September. Yeah.
Yes, that's great because we always expect, things to come fast and but
Yeah.
that doesn't. And the thing is that we have to be ready for that. So we have to be ourselves in the right timeline to access it.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's so true.
Mm. So, honey, does it happen sometimes that you can I think if no one has any questions to Renee, we can thank her guides and let them do their stuff.
Go do your
Because
thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, no questions are coming. So um do you still have some moments when you, yeah, I don't know, freak out or doubt your face, or maybe not those days, but in the process because you changed your life 6 years ago, if I remember well. So almost a little bit more. Question. Okay, Renee, are they still here? Or aren't they here anymore? Because Renee has a question.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's
So,
fine. That's fine.
okay. Okay, so they are here. It's coming. So I'll piggyback to my question later. Still here? Okay, yes. How to, it's Ronnie question, how to still have fun when feeling the discomfort from growth?
Oh, man, that's a really good question because we do have to be uncomfortable. And that kind of goes with what you were talking about. Like, being uncomfortable is what gets us to grow. If we don't feel discomfort, like if I'm comfortable all the time, I'm not going to change because life is great. So I know that we've heard that 10,000 times, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, I hate when I have to say stuff like that, but it really is that. And going back to, which ties right into your question, so I'm not a bit surprised these are connected, is it really is the journey. It really, really is that. It's enjoying the growth of the business. It's enjoying the book taking so long to get out there. You know, it's enjoying every part of it. That's life. That's the good stuff. The good stuff isn't hitting the goal and finally getting the book published. The good stuff is the journey along the way.
Yes, and that's probably why, before the live, we were talking about, if I am happy, or what is the success of the book and so on. And that's why I have no expectation for the results, because yeah, it was very challenging to write this book and be connected to myself, and it healed me a lot. All the health chapter, each time I was writing, and each time I reread what I have written, I keep on yawning, we say, doing that.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yawning. Yes.
yawning, yes. And so I know that when I do that, it's a kind of releasing, and and I was healing myself at that time. So yes, at one point I said, okay, this is the end of this book. I'm done, not gonna do anything else with it, because I don't want to heal something else. But yes, it's really a journey, and it's great because it's for the I don't know how to say that, but for the sacred of the book, of the writer, it's important to have this process, and that it's long.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for all of us, I think there is, especially being an entrepreneur, we have this idea and we want to launch it and we expect it to be successful like the next month. That is not how things typically work. Like we have to align our energy with that successful version of us in the future. And that's what takes the work. There's the
Yes,
work.
and I love that. And I really love that, because, each time people come in, my workshop, and we work with my tool, Future Life Progression. So they see themselves in the future, and then they come back with the vision. So they stick to the vision, but it's not the vision they have to stick to. It's the energy, the
Yeah,
feeling. And that's what matters, and what keep you online and manifest. We talked about that earlier, so yeah.
yes, exactly. That's
Yes.
what takes the time, is for us to get in alignment, not the program, not for it to catch on out there. It's the time is for us to get into that energy.
Yeah,
Like if we
absolutely.
were, I don't know anybody like this, but if we were really spiritual masters, we would be able to immediately shift to that energy. But
Yeah.
but then where's the fun? Where's the journey? Where's the growth? Where's all the things that you're experiencing along the way? That's life. That's the fun shit.
Yes, and the thing is that our soul chose this body, this life, this time to live this life, and so at one point, it's not our brain or mind or ego to find explanation. It's like that. We are here for that. And so enjoy it, and stop complaining or victimizing ourselves and so on, because it's like that. It's our pathway. We have something to learn. And so, yes. So
Yeah,
I sound maybe a little bit fatalist, but yes, it's not an English word, fatalist. I don't know. I
I
have to
don't know.
translate it. I don't know. Wait, hold on. You can talk. I'm gonna translate it.
Well, once again, I am just so incredibly happy for you. that you and I'm happy for the rest of us because you're on the leading edge here, this cutting edge of this shift. And so, so what a place for you to be. Two, I have to say I'm happy that you're my friend because then I get to go on this ride with you, you know.
Oh, and for sure you will. Oh, yes, I'll keep you updated, and for sure I'm gonna come to you for new consultation with my guides because yeah, they are really great. So yeah,
Yes, yes.
um, so yes, fatalist was fatalistic. Is
Oh,
fatalistic
got it,
for
got it. Okay.
so yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So voilà, Carl. What are we getting ready for? The best things happen when we don't prepare, but we reactive. I don't know. When we are surprised. Mm,
So I have to say, I relate to what he's saying in a certain way because that's kind of how I live my life of getting up and like, what's the universe going to bring me today?
yes,
And being in that wonder and that energy, like being open to it.
yes, yes,
So I see what and I understand, what Carl's saying with that. Like,
yeah,
what's going
yeah.
to
Okay.
happen today? What wonderful thing is going to happen because of what's going on, with our governments and the planet and all the things.
Mhm.
Like watching it and being a part of this collective evolution. I heard Barbara Marx Hubbard once give a talk, and she is an author here and writes a lot in the States. And she was talking about this being the first time in our history that we get to choose how we're evolving. Like before, it was we needed lungs were coming out of the water, we needed, whatever.
Yeah.
Now where our consciousness, like we get to choose now how we want to evolve. And that's the place that we're at now. We're getting to choose how we want our businesses to evolve, how we want our
Mhm.
souls to evolve, how we want our societies to evolve. That's a completely different spot.
Yeah,
So to
totally.
approach it from what Carl is saying, to approach it from that, like, wow, I am here for this. I'm here to see like what wonderful thing is gonna happen.
Yes, yes. This angle is okay. I was seeing, reactive as reaction and bad reaction, and
Mm,
controlling and react to survive. But we can react in a way to where we receive and we enjoy, and it's a
yeah,
kind of reaction. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Uh, I had a voice note of a voicemail of my one of my clients this afternoon, and she said she had a meeting with her financial forecaster, and he said, "What's the plan with your company? Because a company that doesn't grow will die." So,
yeah,
yeah, first thing, but how old is your consultant? You know,
yeah,
how old is this guy? But because of course it's a guy. Oh, sorry. But, and
yeah.
so
Well,
what do you think? And what does the guide say? What do the guide have to say about
I
that?
have got this question from multiple people before. This is a
Oh
common
yeah,
one.
really?
And
Okay.
this is our old fashioned idea of growth like this.
Yeah.
Okay. I have multiple girlfriends like me that owned companies, and it was constantly increase the income, our revenues got to go up. And when that went up, our revenue often involved at that point, we're more aware now, but it involved more energy, more work, more overhead, which then more,
Yeah.
more, more, more. And when it went more, all of that, happiness went down
Yeah.
more. And
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
so
That's
really
strange.
rethinking, like, what does success mean? Does success to you mean that you're constantly growing more and more and more? Or does success mean like I'm in a really good spot? I make great income. I have, great people I work with. I have time off to enjoy my life and my family. That to me is success. not necessarily that my company doubled revenue for the last 4 years. So what?
So absolutely, so what? And then if you are a solopreneur and it all depends or rely on your time, it's something you have less time. But if you have employees and product and stocks and rent and all that, okay, your income, your revenue, your yes, you double your figures maybe, but it doesn't mean that what's left increased as
No,
well.
it does not.
So what's the point? The health, that really the health of a company. And I don't know why all those influencers keep on talking about 7, 8 figures business and multiple figure business and so on, because what's important, it's what's left. So money, time, energy, and yeah, health, happiness, and so on. And same for your
Yeah.
employee.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good indicator of a healthy business. How
For
can you have a
sure.
healthy business? How can you have a healthy business if the owner, the people in your company aren't healthy? If they're not happy, if they don't have time off, if they don't go together.
I don't know. I can't understand that.
I can't either. Oh well.
So yeah. So probably yeah, this hour stuff. My bad. I didn't pay attention because we changed hour here in Europe 2 weeks ago, and I planned. So I mismatched hours, so we started earlier than planned because of me. And so now a lot of people are here, but we reached the end. So, Renee, how do you want to close this moment together?
How I want to close it is one more time to toast you because I
Oh,
think I am the last of your lives.
you
You
are,
know,
and it's
the
so
book is
great to
out
end with
there.
you.
You know, you've launched it. You have all these great reviews. People love it. And so I just feel so honored that I got to have a little teeny part, of the journey with you and be a little part of that. So really, my dear, congratulations. I'm so incredibly happy for you.
Thank you from really the bottom of my heart. I wish I can hug you and have those fabulous pancakes in Bosman with you, because it would have been so great to celebrate in person. And really, thanks for your amazing support during all those time because and journey, because yes, you helped me really, really a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for
Take care.
watching. Okay. All
Yeah, see
right.
you soon, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.